Welcome to the Blue Earth County Board of Commissioners Board Meeting and the February 17th, 2026 Board Meeting. We start with the pledge, so those who can, please join us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, agenda review, Bob?
Madam Chair, there are no changes to the agenda today.
Move the agenda. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public comment. So the public comment portion of the board meeting allows opportunity for citizens to address the board in a public setting. We've had several individuals reach out to provide public comments to the commissioners. Please note, this meeting is being recorded. There's a 5-minute time limit. I've asked the administrator to give you 1 minute warning and let you know when you've allotted your time. Comments from the public are expected to be civil and respectful. The board will not take action today, but will direct county staff to respond appropriately to issues raised. So I'll now ask Catherine Fauci and Diane Dobitz to please come to the podium, state your names and addresses for the record.
Good morning. My name is Catherine Fouchy, and my address is 21786 Flint Road, Lake Crystal, rural Judson County. Thank you for hearing me this morning, and thank you for all the work that you do for us. I see on your agenda you're going to be dealing with some really fun stuff later. But this morning, I wanted to talk a little bit about what's been going on and my opinion on that matter. My husband and I are both retired, and we're a business person and a retired public employee. And so today here I'm to request that your body use its influence to publicly advocate for removing ICE from Minnesota, at least back to normal levels, and to help talk to Congress about repealing the funding for ICE as it is currently. I don't mind paying taxes for things that are going to make our community more resilient, but I really abhor paying it to the ultra-rich for a tax break or for the cruel and unusually aggressive and sometimes unconstitutional actions that are going on by ICE. So I'm requesting that the county deploy every reasonable resource and authority available to you to defend our rights and the general peace and well-being of our county residents. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Diane Dobitz. I live at 134 Hawaiian, Mankato. I'm also here with Kathy with those same concerns and also grateful for the service that you do provide us. We know that many people take that for granted. But we also know that counties are the local body of government that most directly is impacted by the cruel cuts of the recently passed federal big budget bill. The county board budgets for county health care, food support, housing, child care, and other needs of those who struggle the most. You are our elected officials, and we need you to address this crisis in a very direct way. We would like to ask you, really to demand, if I may say, that you publish a report that quantifies the impact of the federal big budget bill on Blue Earth County. And also that the commissioners advocate with a formal letter to ask that the federal big budget bill be repealed. We know that we have been trying to contact and have conversations with our representative, Brad Finstead. He has not agreed to meet us in person. He has not agreed to have conversations with us about our concerns. He puts his party over us as people. We can hear and see that from how he's supporting that our property taxes are going to subsidize the tax cuts to the ultra wealthy. He keeps voting. He voted for that bill. and he continues to vote in that same line of influence. We want you to help publicly call Congress, call Brad Finstead to account. We want our representative people to support the broader good of our community. The greed and cruelty that we are seeing rooted in the kind of politics that is happening right now is not what we are used to, and it's not what you have been about. We want our elected officials and we want ourselves to care about each other and our neighbors.
1 minute remaining.
Our children know what fairness is. I have been in our school systems as a representative from the Greater Mankato Diversity Council. Our children are terrorized. They are not coming to school. We need to make sure that every family and every person can afford to live and to be treated with dignity in our communities. So I ask you, I am standing here as an individual in the place of people who are afraid and terrorized to come and stand before you. So please listen to us and please act and do what we asked you to do regarding the accountability of why our taxes are paying for
Time is
what is
up.
happening.
Thank you for your comments. Now, Ms. Kathy Solstrom.
Good morning.
Morning.
How many times do the taxpayers have to pay for the actions of the greedy? I'll try not to be redundant because some has been spoken, but cuts from funds supporting the needy were made to pay for tax cuts for the greedy, the needy and the greedy. Begging specific congressmen to vote no for the one big bill fell on deaf ears. So here we are. County commissioners know better than anyone what this means to each and every one of us. But that information hasn't been shared with us. We deserve to know how these cuts have impacted our county's health care. I ask that you make that information available to the taxpayers of Blue Earth County. I know we received this, and I appreciate this, but the 21% of human services doesn't tell me people, and I would like to know a delineation of that. I have members of my extended family whose sole income is Social Security disability. They qualify for Medicaid and SNAP and other services the county can provide. Their disabilities have all been verified by their doctors years ago. I assist them with medical needs. I know that one of the eligibility requirements that I keep hearing about of the one big bill is to require a number of hours of employment for individuals if they are to continue receiving benefits. But that's as much as I know. I haven't mentioned this to any of them because it would be emotionally abusive to introduce that kind of anxiety into their lives. I have no idea what kind of hoops they'll need to jump through to verify their levels of disability. I imagine the county will be involved in administrating that feat. Each one of them would work if they could and have endured much disappointment over the years trying to hold a job while incapable of doing so. It is so demeaning that anyone would require someone to prove they are disabled after having been done so by a doctor. In my extended family, their situations will not change, they will not get better. My own personal property taxes, I won't go there, but my property taxes on the handful of rental income that I have gone up 11 to 13%. So I know you've identified that raising property taxes will help the lack of funding. And that's necessary. I too don't mind paying taxes to help our county neighbors. In my case, I'm sensitive to the fact that there isn't low-income housing in Mankato enough to go around. I provide affordable rental housing. My tenants cannot absorb an 11 to 13% increase in their rent. I cannot, in good conscience, raise their rent. I refuse to create a situation where they're needing to choose whether to buy groceries, keep the lights on, or go to the doctor. Yet I will pay the increase. The big bill, unknown to any of us, of the $75 billion that was made available to DHS and ICE, was foreseen by the administration, although we did not know why. Now we know. It's funding the largest army in the United States doing the bidding of the administration at the expense of our constitutional rights. Operation Metro Surge has put this into play under false pretenses. Those false pretenses have not ended. Greed is funding authoritarianism and will perpetuate further occupation. Metro Surge seeped into Blue Earth County like it did with others throughout the
1 minute
state.
remaining.
The emotional impact of that on people in our state will likely not be addressed because the mental health resources were not sufficient before the health care cuts. My career is in education, and for years we needed more counselors and social workers in the school district. Approximately 10 years ago, by some miracle, after years and years of asking, that happened, only to be pulled out from under children and youth by this big bill. I have 5 biracial grandchildren of my 13 grandchildren in our Mankato schools and a diverse group of friends, and I fear for them constantly, and some of them fear for themselves. At every turn, taxpayers are footing the bill at staggering expenditures that have occurred with the swipe of a pen.
Thank you for
It's
your
the
comments.
wealthy versus the people. I need this
Your time
board
is up.
of commissioners to defend our county by advocating for the repeal of the bill and writing a formal letter
Thank you.
to those who vote against us, the people.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you for this opportunity. I appreciate the work you do as public servants, and I'm grateful to speak with you today. I am Melanie Walsiger. I live at 214 Woodhaven Lane here in Mankato. I serve as senior pastor of Christ the King Lutheran Church. The faith tradition that I am a part of connects love for God with love of one's neighbor. These two things in our faith tradition cannot be separated. Our faith calls us to love our neighbor in tangible ways, such as welcoming the stranger, feeding the hungry, caring for the sick, and visiting the imprisoned. The ICE occupation in Minnesota, including Blue Earth County, has created widespread fear, anxiety, and havoc. Parents in my congregation tell me how scary the presence of ICE is for their children. Children are afraid that ICE will take them from their families, even when their families are citizens or are here legally. One parent told me that what she hates most is that ICE agents have vests that say police in large letters when they are not police. The parent says, I can't tell my kids to trust the police when someone is impersonating them with no consequences. An immigrant I know who is here legally has to weigh each week, do I go to work and risk getting taken and separated from my family? Or do I go to work so that my family has what they need? This person has had family members and friends who have been detained by ICE. They have not been to a grocery store or in the public for weeks. Their children no longer play outside. Congregation members have felt the impact of ICE in our community as they have volunteered in feeding programs where international students they know have been detained without warning or cause. Nearly 75% of people who have been picked up by ICE in Minnesota have no criminal record at all. Members of my congregation, though politically diverse, have expressed grave concern over the impact of ICE in our community. ICE isn't here to arrest the worst of the worst. It's about creating a reign of terror. I ask 3 things. I ask you to report on the financial impact on ICE activities. What is the financial impact of ICE activities on Blue Earth County? Who is paying for it? As the Blue Earth County Board, please use every resource, authority, and influence you have available to defend the rights of Blue Earth County residents against aggressive and illegal actions caused by federal ICE agents. Third, I ask for you to use your influence to publicly advocate for Congress to repeal the big, beautiful bill. I spoke up with my colleagues against this at our city council earlier this summer, and we ask you to use everything you can to repeal it, as it is harmful for our community and the people who live here. Thank you again for this opportunity and for your work. I do not envy you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Barb Keith?
Hi, my name is Barb Keith, and I live at 100 Palmer Path in Mankato. And I'm mostly here as a retired Health and Human Services staff. I worked in Nicollet County with the waiver program, and I had also colleagues who were working with WIC with young kids and mental health and all sorts of different social worker jobs, chemically dependent, whatever. And I know that those are the people who are most vulnerable to changes that impact finances of the county. And I know that there are some changes in the eligibility requirements that you have to attend in person. I know this impacts the immigrants who have not been comfortable leaving their homes in the last couple, 3 months. They probably have been losing their benefits, if their eligibility came up during this period. I was just thinking about one of my former clients who has severe physical disabilities, and he's probably not left his home for 2 years. Is he going to be able to be continuing to stay on his program if he can't get into the county office to re-up? I know that WIC provides formula, so the kiddos who have not had a rep go to the public health have not been able to get their food at a reduced rate. So that puts a financial stress on the family. Just to talk about immigrants in general, which I think are one of the most vulnerable groups because of ICE. Many of them are not working. That impacts their finances. So they're going to need help with rent. They're going to need help with groceries. We've seen new creative ways to help serve people groceries, like bringing groceries to them, starting up, additionally, or adding to the food recovery program, starting pantries that have people delivering groceries to those immigrants. The other impact on immigrants is the small businesses. I did go into a store recently where I asked how the sales were impacting, and she said rent, utilities, no customers for like 3 months. So what are we going to have left of our creative, diverse small businesses after ICE? I know that the food shelves have been busier just because of the big, beautiful bill. And now with ICE, and the immigrants not being able to work and buy their groceries, then the food shelves are additionally stressed. And where do the food shelves get their money from? Number one, from the government, right? And they cut back on the resources that the food shelves have, and donors. That's us. This tax money that we have spent has has been serving the very wealthy, and it has not been serving the people that we would prefer it to have serve, our neighbors. And so, as others have remarked before, I just hope that you think of all the residents in the community and forward, your desire to provide as much as you can. As Kathy said, we know that our taxes are probably going to be
1 minute
impacted.
remaining.
But the people who don't have the resources need to be helped. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Mr. Micah Buck?
Hi, board members. Thank you for your public service as board members and for taking comments from me and everybody else. As you're well aware, last year Congress passed the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which dramatically cut funding for safety net programs, including SNAP and Medicaid, while increasing the compliance burden on people receiving benefits and the entities administering them, which includes this body or this county. Obviously, the people who are feeling this the most are those who have been receiving benefits and are now either being kicked off of or are having to spend a lot more time repeatedly proving their eligibility. But the negative downstream consequences of this legislation extend beyond the people directly impacted. Blue Earth County raised property taxes by 13% back in December, presumably at least in part to cover the reduced funds from the federal government and the additional workload the new compliance requirements impose. This affects all residents of and workers in the county, either directly or indirectly through, as we've heard already, through increased rents or deferred wage increases due to the higher cost to employers. As Minnesota Senator Aaron May Quaid said in an interview to NPR last December, quote, "Unlike pretty much any other tax that we pay, this property tax increase is not to help more people. It is to have fewer services to fewer people." The money that the county has lost is instead going to pay for ICE and Customs and Border Protection to arrest, detain, and deport as many people as they possibly can, as quickly as they possibly can. I think we've all seen images and video of Minnesotans being taken from their homes, their cars, or simply plucked off the street and disappearing into the black hole of the DHS detention apparatus. ICE or CBP agents are also harassing citizens and legal residents here in Blue Earth County and the surrounding area. A few weeks ago, a woman was shot in the face with pepper spray from a point-blank range, which she captured on video with her phone. And in St. Peter, another woman was aggressively boxed in and forced to the side of the road by multiple ICE vehicles before being forcibly dragged from her car, put into another vehicle, and sent to the Whipple building at Fort Snelling. That event made the national news. Luckily, the car turned around and brought her back to St. Peter. Although ICE and CBP are supposedly drawing down their presence in Minnesota, we really have no objective way of knowing whether or not that's really happening, and even if it is, their behavior is not going to change. They cannot both uphold the law and meet their deportation targets. So I want to ask the county to do several things. Deploy, every resource you have and any influence you have available to defend the rights of county residents against aggressive and illegal actions by federal ICE and CBP agents. Publicly state your commitment to protecting your constituents, the law, the Constitution, and call on Congress to repeal the OBBBA. The Hennepin County Board of Commissioners has passed multiple resolutions to this effect in just the last few weeks, so it can be done. And then take substantive action to, as other people have been asking for, just provide documentation of the costs to the county and to our residents that ICE activity is imposing on public safety, commerce, school attendance, public health. Some of these things I'm not actually sure, maybe you have already done, so apologies if you have, but formally prohibit ICE from using city and county-owned property or parking spots, bar or continue to bar the county collaborating with DHS, CBP, or ICE agents. Join the lawsuit that was filed by the Minnesota Attorney General and the cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul to halt Operation Metro Surge, which, as far as I know, is still active, and just communicate, stay in contact with residents of Blue Earth County. And
1 minute remaining.
provide Know Your Rights trainings information. Thank you.
Micah, could you state your name and address for the record, please?
Yeah, Micah Book, 200 Locust Street, Mankato.
Thank you.
Thank you, Micah.
Mr. Garner.
Members of the Board of Commissioners, thank you for having us. My name is Eric Garner. I am the minister of First Presbyterian Church of Mankato, 220 East Hickory Street here in town. And I will not belabor the points that have already been made thus far. However, in reading about the stated mission of Blue Earth County, I can see that it is the goal here to effectively and efficiently provide the necessary services for the residents of this county. And as I consider that and the ongoing effect of the residents here who are unable to leave their homes out of fear, people I know who are not only immigrants, but also citizens who were born in the United States, who are concerned about the ongoing threat of violence, the intimidation tactics, individuals who are being followed home by ICE agents who themselves are saying that they are afraid of being doxxed and yet seem to be perfectly comfortable following individuals back to their homes in order to intimidate them. Over the last several nights, we have been hearing drones fly around our neighborhoods that do not have any transpondents being recorded on national flight logs. We are being monitored. Tactics may have changed. However, we are not seeing the sort of drawdown that has been discussed, that is being suggested is occurring. Instead, tactics are changing. There were multiple individuals arrested in Rochester yesterday, not far from here. People in surrounding towns continue to express concern about getting out and working the jobs that we want them to do. We want people to effectively and efficiently not only receive, but also carry out the essential services for their neighbors. As a minister, I cannot pretend to know what sort of policy will be most effective for offering a sense of safety and well-being for our neighbors. And so I'm going to trust all of you because I believe that you are here because you care about the people of our communities. And so I would encourage for you to use your imagination, your dedication, and all of the energy that you can muster, not only to think of ways of expunging threats of violence and intimidation, but also to seek to foster mutuality and cooperation. And so I thank you for the work that you are doing, and I would encourage for you to continue to act with boldness because we need you now. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, everyone, for your comments. We're now going to move into a ditch hearing. So County Ditch 88 repair hearing is up next.
Thank you, folks. Thank you very much.
Just a minute.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome and introductions. Welcome to the County Ditch 88 repair hearing. Agenda review.
Madam Chair, there are no changes to the agenda today.
I'll move the agenda.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Being as there's... The purpose of today's hearing is to present the engineer's repair report and to receive comments from all parties interested in the County Ditch 88 proposed repairs. The order of business for this hearing is as follows. Staff will review the jurisdictional documents. We will hear from the appointed engineer, and then we will open the hearing for public comments. I will ask Ryan Hineker, Blue Earth County Drainage Staff, to review the jurisdictional documents.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ryan Hineker, Blue Earth County Property Environmental Resources County Drainage System Coordinator. Landowner information meeting was held on December 9th of 2025. Hearing notices for today's hearing were mailed out on February 6th of 2026. Notice was also posted outside of this historic courthouse building. Notice was also published in the Mankato Free Press as a public affidavit on February 6th. I also have a short memo for today's hearing. Blue Earth County Ditch 88 watershed is approximately 5,700 acres in size and primarily located in McPherson Township. Based on inspections of County Ditch 88 open ditch and subsurface field tiles, a repair report was developed. Blue Earth County Drainage staff consulted with engineer Mr. Chuck Brandel from ISG to develop a repair report. The repair report was developed using staff input as well as engineering staff survey recommendations. Informational landowner meeting was held on December 9th, 2025 to discuss the proposed repair report, including costs and plans. On January 20th, 2026, by assigned findings and order, the Drainage Authority set today's repair hearing date for County Ditch 88. Today's action requested at today's meeting, we are seeking the approval of the Drainage Authority for the draft repair report for County Ditch 88 proposed repairs and also the resolution to finance. That is all I have for now, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Ryan. So
I would move the affidavits of.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Aye.
Aye. We didn't vote.
All in favor?
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I'm jumping again.
Yes, you are. Making sure I do my job. All right. I will now ask the appointed engineer to please review the engineer's repair report.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
All right. My name is Bailey Vilkino. I'm the professional engineer that will be signing the repair plans for County Ditch 88. And today I also have
Adam Stenzel. I'm a graduate engineer with ISG.
Thank you.
So today we'll be going through some of the drainage process, some watershed information, review of the existing conditions and capacities of the CD88 system, our proposed designs, project costs, and our recommendations for the repair. So today we're following the repair proceedings. Today we're at the repair hearing. So if approved today, we would move forward with construction of the project. This would be the only hearing for the repair project.
And I'll be diving into the existing conditions and capacities of the CD88 system, watershed characteristics. CD88 resides within Decoria, McPherson, Buford, and Meadow townships. Provides drainage to about 9,500 total acres. There's an elevation difference of 88 feet across the watershed. Hydrologic soil classification is CD. And the land use is predominantly agricultural row crops. Here is an existing watershed map. The red boundary you see is the CD88 watershed boundary. The yellow line you see is the CD77 watershed boundary. The dashed blue line you see is existing open ditch. The dashed black lines you see are existing tile. The CD77 public drainage infrastructure outlets into Rice Lake, which subsequently outlets into the Blue Earth 88 mainline open ditch, flows north before outletting into an unnamed stream. There's the CD88 system consists of a mainline open ditch, branch 1 open ditch, branch 1B open ditch, and branch 2 open ditch, as well as numerous branch and lateral tile. There's 7 existing culvert crossings along the main line open ditch and branch 1B open ditch. Here's an existing elevation map. The white and red that you see is your higher elevations, whereas your teal and green are your lower elevations. You can see along the main line open ditch and other open ditch is more of a floodplain area with steeper elevations being adjacent to that. History of the system was established in 1961, which is relatively young when looking at all the other drainage systems in Blue Earth County. Consists of 18,000 feet of mainline open ditch, 2,500 feet of branch 1 open ditch, 1,000 feet of branch 1 lateral B open ditch, and 500 feet of branch 2 open ditch, as well as about 4,600 feet of branch and lateral tile. There's been no documented improvements. There's been a handful of repairs, including a branch 5 tile outlet repair and side slope repairs. Here are some site photos when we flew the ditch with our drone. Top left, you can see some sediment deposition in the mainline open ditch. Top right, you can see there's areas throughout the ditch where there's washouts and gully erosion occurring. Bottom left, specifically in section 7 of McPherson Township, there's some tree and woody vegetation growth in the open ditch buffer. And then the bottom right, there's some images of some sloughing that's occurring. That image is from branch 2. Here are some site photos of all the existing crossings on the system. Crossing number 1 is a metal arch private crossing. Condition overall is fair, but that crossing displays negative grade. Crossing number 2, this is CASA 15, consists of a low flow culvert and an overflow culvert. Based on site reports, the overflow culvert's in pretty good condition, but that low flow metal arch culvert is rusted through. It's pretty poor condition. Crossing 3, another private crossing, displays negative grade and some sediment accumulation. Crossing 4 is a concrete arch. It's in really good condition, no concerns to note. Crossing 5 displays exterior rust and is aging. Crossing 6, another road crossing, concrete, it's in good condition, no concerns. And then crossing 7 illustrates deformities and is rusting through. Existing capacities of the crossings. Crossing 1, 3, and 5 is below an inch per day recommendation, represented as the drainage coefficient. It's important to note that the drainage coefficient doesn't account for any existing failures or deformities. So as those exist, the drainage coefficient would most likely be less than what is represented here. A lot of that, the crossings that are below an inch per day can be attributed to negative grade. Getting into our proposed design. When we're proposing to do repairs, there's stuff we need to consider for crossings, traffic considerations. Is it a road? Is it a private crossing? Drainage coefficient. Through a repair, we need to maintain the as constructed capacity. We look at alternative BMPs that we can implement for water quality or erosion purposes, and then making sure we're adequately protecting the infrastructure we're repairing from erosive forces. Here's our proposed watershed map. The red, again, is the Blue Earth 88 watershed boundary. The dashed dark blue line you see is existing open ditch, black line existing tile. In terms of repairs, the teal line you see is proposed cleaning. We're proposing to clean a portion of the main line, all of branch 1 open ditch, and then all of branch 1B open ditch. The orange that you see near crossing number 2 is tree removal within the open ditch buffer. The pink lines pink polygons that you see is side slough repairs. And then the yellow dots that you see are proposed crossing repair. So crossing 1, 2, 3, 5, and 7 we're currently proposing to replace. Proposed capacities, through repair, we're replacing the crossings with the same size and slope. If the existing size isn't readily available, we use the next size up. We're replacing all the crossings with arch concrete, with the exception of crossing number 7, which was an existing round metal. So we're replacing that with a concrete round pipe. And we achieve an inch per day drainage coefficient through repair if possible.
And we also coordinated with highway, the county highway department on the one crossing that would be on the county road, CASA 15. Kind of coordinated with him and worked with him to make sure that that was in alignment with him, and will continue to do so through the repair, through his permitting process.
Here's just our typical plan and profile, what we have put together. The top 2/3 of this plan sheet just illustrate hatches that show slough repairs, cleaning extents, tree removal there in red, ASIs. Zooming into our profile, so the bottom third of the sheet I just showed you, and what we're going to be cleaning and why. When we did the survey, we went out and did soil borings to determine where that clay layer is. We then created a profile, as you see here, and plotted historical grade line, and went to see how that lined up with the soil borings we got, where that clay layer is, and then also the existing crossings on the system. Through that, when plotting that, we found that the historical legal grade aligned with the culvert crossings more so than the soil borings, leading us to conclude that the ditch was likely over excavated at some point, which is why we're only cleaning a portion of the main line, branch 1 and branch 2, wherever that existing sediment is above legal grade. MDM, this is part of statute. We're required to provide this, and what this is we look at preventative control and treatment measures, or a bunch of BMPs. Not required, but we're required to provide this information to landowners. So we look at stuff like grass waterways, alternative side inlets, filter strips. So we're tentatively proposing a bunch of alternative side inlets. I believe there is 13 ASIs and 7 ASIROs. The ASIROs consist of riprap throughout the system. Here's a detail illustrating that. Essentially what this is just a drop structure with an intake. Water can temporarily pond alongside of the ditch, reduces the energy, allows for sediment to settle, nutrients to settle, and then outlets near the bottom of the ditch. In some instances we add riprap if there's intense channelized flow to the open ditch. These ASIs can get funded. We're seeing water quality improvements and reduction of 81 tons per year and 93 pounds per year of TP, reduce sediment entering the system, improve water quality, and also reduce the cleaning frequency of the ditch. And we applied for MDM funding 2025-2026. It was not awarded to us, but we have the potential to reapply this May and try and get some of those ASIs funded. Diving into project costs. So how the project currently sits with all those ASIs we just showed you on the map, including cleaning, tile outlet repairs, tree removal, side slope repairs, and then replacing crossing 1, crossing number 2, just the low flow, crossing 3, crossing 5, and crossing 7. Your total project cost comes out to $1,072,650. The road authority will cover $196,000 of that, which is tied to crossing number 2, the low flow, leaving a total project cost for landowners of $876,000. With that, we're seeking approval of one of these 3 options. Option 1, installing all the ASIs regardless of if grant funding is awarded. We plan to reapply but we're seeking approval from you all and feedback to determine which route we should go with this. So option one, repair costs across the board are $760,000. ASI costs are about $118,000. If no grant funding is awarded, landowners would pay that $876,000. Option two would be installing all ASIs only if the grant funding is awarded. We'll reapply. If it's awarded, great. That lowers the maximum potential cost to landowners by $770,000. And then option three includes some field verification this spring, and we'll keep 40 to 70% of the ASIs we currently have proposed. We're going to try and prioritize which ASI locations will have the biggest impact to the system, still reapply, and then based on if we get grant funding or not, you're looking at a max cost to landowners of about $834,000. In conclusion, portions of the CD88 mainline and branch open ditches are deteriorating and need a repair. We're trying to implement measures to decrease future failures, such as these ASI implementation. We're working still to gain some funding from outside of the benefited pool of landowners. This project is presented as cost-effective, practical, feasible, and a necessity. The project will be a public benefit and contribute to the public welfare. Therefore, this project should be considered for approval. With approval, we'll move forward with construction plans, those ASI verification for bidding. Here's our tentative schedule. We'd like to bid this spring. Any questions?
Good report.
Thank you for the report. Does anyone have any questions?
Not at this point.
Nope.
All right. At this time, we'll open the public comment portion of the hearing. If you would like to make a comment, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Comments from the public are expected to be civil and respectful. Please note this meeting is being recorded, and there is a 5-minute time limit. The county administrator will give you a 1-minute warning and let you know when you've used the allotted time. In addition, the board may restrict or limit the time allotted to a person whose remarks are repetitive or not relevant to the matter under consideration by the board. Is there anyone wishing to make comments? Is there anyone wishing to make comments on County Ditch 88 repair report? And last time, anyone wishing to make comments on the County Ditch 88 repair report? Hearing no comments, I will close the public comment portion of the hearing. Are there any comments or questions from the board?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
We need to talk just a little bit more about the ASIs. Adam, if you could come to the podium. So, if I understood you correctly, option one was to leave them out altogether. Spend $760,000. Option two was to leave them in only if we get the grant, so we could do the project and then add them later. Or talk to me about that just a tad bit, how that fits into the program and how much of an inconvenience it is to add them later.
So option two would to not include them.
Not include them at all. Okay.
in the
I thought that was with
project.
the grant. Okay.
Yep. So we would apply for the grant. If we didn't receive the grant, then the MVM portion, the water quality components with the ASIs would be removed.
Okay.
Completely with the option two. And then option three is kind of that compromise option where we go out into the field, look, and prioritize them a little bit more. Looking at for the top ones that would have the most benefit to the system, so reducing that potential cost to landowners. We could still reapply with the lower number of ASIs, but if we don't get it, we would still include those.
Okay.
With just like a lower number of them.
In your opinion, the ASIs certainly help the life of the ditch. I mean, it's
Yes.
not just about water quality, it's also about longevity and cleaning of the ditch in the future.
Correct.
And they have been very productive.
Yeah, we've
got
had
them
really great
all over the county.
success with them, and feel that they're in a pretty easy, low-hanging fruit water quality and maintenance feature that can be added into projects to improve the ditch system.
And we've been pretty successful with getting the grants. We just can't guarantee it, but
We did meet with Bowser after we did not receive the funding from the first round that we applied
yeah.
for, and got some feedback from them, and how we might improve the next round of applications that we submit. So we got some good feedback and are feeling a little bit more positive in how we might change things to try to get the funding the next time around.
so of those three, Ryan, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to make a comment. This is similar to what we did 2 years ago with County Ditch 1.
Right.
Yep. And MDM is just one source, so we're not going to give up on finding grant funding sources just because of round 1 we didn't get funded. So.
Sure.
I might also add just the timeline on that. I think the next round of applications for the grant is in May, and then we would be awarded the funding in July. So that would kind of extend. We would not be able to spend any of the dollars until the grant would be awarded and those contracts are fulfilled. So we would be looking at extending just the ASI piece of it until later summer, fall.
And that's what we did with 1, correct?
Correct.
We did the whole project, then we came back and did
Yes,
them
sir.
later.
Yep.
So which option does that process fit in the best? Option
I would say 3.
3?
Yeah. I would say 3 is probably what I would recommend moving forward with or pursue. Ryan, I don't know if you have any additional input.
Yeah, that's it's most similar in nature to what we did with County Ditch 1. Yes.
And that was pretty successful.
Correct.
Because they are important.
Yep.
I mean, that's what this is, 117. Well, if you cut that in half with option 3 and you don't get the funding, that extra, 60, 70,000 is money well spent in the future of just cleaning and maintaining the ditch.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
all right, that's the only questions I had, Madam Chair.
All right,
And just, well, wait, I'm sorry.
go ahead.
How many of the inspection crossings did we take out of this one?
All of the inspection crossings were
Which was
removed from.
How many?
2.
2. Okay, and thank you for doing that. We heard that after the last information. That's all my questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you. So what's the preference of the board?
If there's no questions or other comments from the board, I would move option 3.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, now I'm going to ask the resolution to finance. I'll now have staff review the resolution to finance.
Is that yours, Ryan, or Bob's?
Come again?
You doing the finance?
I have nothing to read. It was
You
part
do?
of
Okay.
it was part of my asking, but quickly, yes, this resolution is just so we can possibly bond for these future costs. Something quite standard that we use in a lot of our stuff. Seeking approval for the 1.4 million on the resolution to finance.
Thank you.
move that.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. If there are no more comments, this will conclude the ditch hearing for ditch 88. And now we're going to move on to, you get to stay in the hot seat, huh, Ryan?
Yep, one more for me.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to ditch 93 repair hearing. Agenda review.
Madam Chair, there are no changes to the agenda.
Move the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. The purpose of today's hearing is to present the engineer's repair report and to receive comments from all parties interested in the ditch 93 proposed repairs. The order of business for this hearing is as follows. Staff will review the jurisdictional documents. We will hear from the appointed engineer, and we will open the hearing for public comments. I'm going to ask Ryan, the public Blue Earth County drainage staff, to review the jurisdictional documents.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, Ryan Henniker, Blue Earth County Property Environmental Resources. Very similar to the last agenda and memo. Landowner informational meeting was held on December 9th, 2025. Hearing notices were mailed out on February 6th of 2026. Notice for today's hearing was posted outside this Blue Earth County Historic Courthouse building. Notice and public affidavit was also published in Mankato Free Press on February 6th of 2026. A quick memo. Blue Earth County Ditch 93 watershed is approximately 3,300 acres in size and primarily located in Decoria Township. Based on inspections of County Ditch 93 open ditch and subsurface field tile, a repair report was developed. Blue Earth County drainage staff consulted with engineer Mr. Chuck Brandel from ISG to develop a repair report. The repair report was developed using drainage staff input as well as engineering survey recommendations. Informational annual meeting was held on December 9th, 2025 to discuss the proposed repair report, including the costs and plans. On January 20th of 2026, by signed findings in order, the Drainage Authority set the repair hearing for County Ditch 93 for today. Today's action requested. At meeting, we are seeking the approval of the Drainage Authority for the draft repair report for County Ditch 93 proposed repairs, and also that resolution to finance.
All right.
I'll move the affidavits.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now we'll ask the appointed engineer to come up and review the engineer's report.
All right. The process and kind of overview of the CD93 system is going to be very similar to what we went through for 88. So we might skip over a couple of the basic stuff and things that we went over on 88 already. Again, I'm Bailey. I'm also will be the signing engineer for CD93, and then Adam also helped with this project as well. Again, this is for an open ditch repair, so yeah, at the repair hearing today and looking for consideration for approval for this project.
Yeah, so we're going to move a little bit quicker through this one. Existing conditions, CD93 resides in Decoria Township, provides drainage to 3,300 acres. There's an elevation difference of 92 feet across the watershed. Soil classification is CD and predominantly row crops. Our existing watershed map, the red is the 93 watershed boundary. System consists of a mainline open ditch and one public drainage tile. There are 5 existing CD93 culvert crossings, and then crossing number 6 is a private ditch crossing that outlets through the mainline open ditch buffer. Here's our existing elevation map, similar layout to Blue Earth 88. The white and red's higher elevations, the green and teal is lower elevations. History of the system was established in 1975, again a younger system consisting of 21,720 feet of mainline open ditch and about 1,400 feet of branch 1 tile. There's been spot cleanings, some side slope repair, and then in 2024, County Road 177 culvert was replaced. Here are some site photos from our drone. Top left, sediment deposition, vegetation growth. Top right, washouts and gully erosion. Bottom left, some tree and woody vegetation growth through the mainline open ditch buffer. And then bottom right, some slough repairs. I will point out the green kind of scummy water that's just sitting in the ditch. Site photos of the crossings. Crossing number 1, Private crossing poor, deformed, displays negative grade. Crossing number 2 is that County Road 177 culvert I described. It's brand new. Crossing number 3, it's in poor condition. Our survey noted that it's partially crushed under the road. Crossing number 4, again, a private crossing. Its downstream invert is low. Crossing number 5 displays negative grade and has upstream invert is high. And then crossing number 6 is that private crossing. Believe it or not, there is a culvert that was shot by our survey that goes through there. That buffer is undrivable, so we included it as part of this project. Conditions, I just went over those. Existing capacities, crossing 1 and 6 are below an inch per day recommendation. Again, these capacities don't account for any failures or restrictions. Proposed design, we kind of went over this already. Traffic considerations, drainage coefficient, protecting the crossing. Here's our proposed watershed map. The red is the CD93 watershed boundary. The dash blue, again, is our existing open ditch. Dash black is existing tile. The teal that you see is cleaning, or currently proposed open ditch cleaning. The pink lines that you see near those existing beaver dam callouts is potential spot cleaning that we'll include at the time of construction. The yellow you see is slough repairs. The orange polygons you see specifically towards the outlet of the system is tree removal. There are a couple of existing beaver dams. One of them since has been removed. We're replacing crossing 1, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. We're replacing those crossings. Same size, same slope, concrete, and this achieves an inch per day through repair. The repairing of crossing 6 is for the purpose of maintenance and inspection access. There's an existing crossing there. It cuts through the ditch buffer, weed spraying, mowing. We decided to include that. Here's our typical plan and profile. I kind of went over that already. Same story with getting soil borings and shooting crossings and plotting that to really determine our legal grade. Similar to CD88, we found that the legal grade aligns with the existing crossings much better than the soil borings, leading us to believe that this ditch was over excavated at one point in time. MDM, we covered that. We did look into that for this project as well. This project, there are a bunch of ASIs that we're currently proposing. Kind of our practice with that is this ditch has a lot of straight pipe side inlets, and so those are contributing to erosion. A lot of them are in really bad shape. So how we cited a bunch of these is not only looking at where the scully erosion is occurring, but where these metal straight pipe side inlets are entering the ditch. We also cited an ASI there to replace those. There's 27 ASIs and 1 ASI-RO. Here's our detail again. Similar story, provides a water quality benefit, but also extends cleaning frequency. We did apply and was not awarded for this ditch as well, but we can reapply this May for 2027 if that's desired. So current project costs, same kind of repair items as 88. We're replacing crossings 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The road authority would be responsible for crossing 3 and 5, giving us a total project cost for landowners of $736,000. We provided the same project options that we're seeking approval for. 1, installing all ASIs regardless of if grant funding is awarded. Option 2, installing all the ASIs only if the grant funding is awarded, and then that same kind of compromise option for option 3, field verifying, prioritizing, still reapplying, but kind of going from there, which can also be separated out similar to CD88. In conclusion, the ditch is deteriorating. We're trying to implement measures to protect that. We're seeking outside funding. The project's presented as cost-effective, practical, feasible, and a necessity. It'll be a public benefit and contribute to the public welfare. And if approved, we're looking to start construction plans and specs for bidding. Similar time frame to 88. We'd like to keep these kind of lined up as we go. Any questions?
Any questions from the board?
I don't at this time, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. So at this time, we'll open the public comment portion of the hearing. As stated previously, if you would like to make a comment, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Comments from the public are expected to be civil and respectful. Is there anyone wishing to make comments? Anyone wishing to make comments on the County Ditch 93 repair report? And for the last time, anyone wishing to make comments on County Ditch 93 repair report? Hearing no further comments, I will close the public portion of the hearing. Are there any comments or questions from the board, Kip?
Made myself aware. Adam, again, back to the crossings. We got number 6 in there yet, and I heard you say inspection. We took one inspection crossing out of this one originally?
This one
had, or 2?
actually had, I don't think it had any.
Oh, this one didn't have
It
any?
was just the one, and that
Oh,
one.
this is number 6, okay.
Yeah, and so that one was still proposed or in the current scope of work for the project right now.
Okay. And we haven't reached out to the landowner to see if they, we just want it for inspection, or we want it for the landowner?
Both, I guess.
Okay.
I think, yeah, coordinating with the landowner, if they do use that to cross the ditch to access other pieces of their property, that would be important to know. Currently, the crossing is not drivable or
Right.
crossable, so.
How important is it to us for the inspections? I mean, the county road's right there, so.
Can I make a comment?
Yep.
So I would say an option to not putting in that culvert, as we've done before, is we put in what we call low flow crossings, where you use rock, so it'll be a dip essentially. It's still drivable, still maintainable. We have to do something so the structural integrity of the ditch is maintained.
All right.
But I don't think we're pigeonholed into just the culvert.
All right. Well, I'm going to support leaving it in today, but with the option that if we can make some adjustments, we'll do that on the fly. So this would be the worst case scenario. If anything, if we took something out, we wouldn't have to come back to the board.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right, I think that was the only question I had on this one, so thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, do I have a motion?
If there's no other questions from the board, I would move approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Last item would be that resolution to finance again for 1.2 million, again, for the purpose of the possibility of bonding.
So moved.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second.
Just a clarification, Madam Chair.
Discussion, yes?
So the project's 900,000 to the 1.2.
Yep, so the 1.2 figure is we take the engineer's estimate and the maximum allowed to estimate for the resolution to finance is 30%.
Okay,
So that's
we
where
can't
that
back
math
it
comes
up.
from.
We can't back it up. That's why we have to go high.
Right, but you're not to exceed that amount
Right.
either, so, yep.
Okay, thank you. I was going to ask that question on the first one, but I knew it was coming up again, so thank you.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thanks.
All right, that concludes
Thank you, Ryan.
ditch
Thanks, Ryan.
93. All righty. Now we're going to move on to ditch 32. So welcome to the judicial ditch 32 repair hearing. Agenda review.
Madam Chair, there are no changes to this agenda.
Move to approve.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. All right. So, the purpose of today's hearing is to present the engineer's repair report, to receive comments from all parties interested in the judicial ditch 32 proposed repairs, The order of business for this hearing is as follows. Staff will review the jurisdictional documents. We will hear from the appointed engineer, and then we will open the hearing for public comments. I will ask Jordan, Blue Earth County Drainage staff, to review the jurisdictional documents.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Jordan Williamson, Property and Environmental Resources, Property and Land Specialist. Jurisdictional documents and notices. Landowner informational meeting was held December 12, 2025. Hearing notices mailed February 6, 2026. Notice was posted for this hearing outside of the Blue Earth County Historic Courthouse located at 204 South 5th Street, Mankato, Minnesota. Notice of public hearing was also published in the Mankato Free Press on February 6, 2026. The Blue Earth County Judicial Ditch 32 watershed is approximately 2,100 acres in size and located in Pleasant Mound Township. Based on inspections from a section of culvert crossing involving Minnesota State Highway 30 and the Judicial Ditch 32 public drainage system, the current culvert has been previously repaired, which is causing a partial obstruction to the public drainage system. The use of original Judicial Ditch 32 records and field surveys to confirm the current crossing size has led to the development of repair plans involving ISG engineering staff. ISG engineering and county drainage management, management staff have worked with MnDOT engineering staff to develop plans consistent with correcting the obstruction with the properly sized culvert as established with the Judicial Ditch 32 public drainage system. An informational landowner meeting was held on December 12, 2025 to discuss the proposed repair report, including costs and plans. On February 3, 2026, by signed findings and order, the Drainage Authority set today's repair hearing for hearing date for Judicial Ditch 32. At today's meeting, we are seeking the approval of the Drainage Authority for the draft repair report for Judicial Ditch 32 proposed repairs. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
We'll move the jurisdictional documents.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
And any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And the appointed engineer is here. Go ahead, Chuck.
All right. Good morning. Chuck Brandel with ISG. This one will be a lot shorter. We're just looking at one crossing, and Jordan explained it pretty well. Josh James also helped out with this. He's at another meeting. Let's see if this will go. So the watershed is about 2,200 acres. It's relatively flat. The history on this watershed is that it was established in 1921 as a mostly tile system, but then there was a waterway and a culvert along with additional tile that was installed. The culvert under Trunk Highway 30 was a 42-inch culvert, and then the road authority actually installed a 24-inch culvert. So there was a ditch culvert and a road culvert. And the watershed map here, there's a lot going on. The red is the watershed boundary, blue is open ditch, the black is tile, yellow is grass waterway, and then there's gas lines crisscrossing very close to where we're proposing to do the work. If you see the green box, that's the proposed crossing that we're looking at as part of this project. And I just show the elevation map showing that Highway 30 does act a little bit as a dam in this area, and the south side of Highway 30 is got some lower land that is being held up by this obstruction. So we at ISG and staff worked with MnDOT and looked at the condition of this crossing. So the orange line on the left is the 42-inch pipe that was installed in '73. There's a 24-inch culvert that was there. Those were experiencing issues, and MnDOT went in and lined those with smaller pipes. So they put in a plastic pipe inside that reduced the capacity of those. So the 42-inch pipe went down to a 33-inch, and the 24 went down to a 20-inch, thus making an obstruction in the drainage system by reducing capacity. After this was found, myself and staff, we've been working with MnDOT on options to repair this, and MnDOT has agreed that they did cause this obstruction. So instead of doing an obstruction hearing. We're going to do a repair hearing since MnDOT is willing to pay for the fix to this crossing. Again, here are those capacity reductions. Those plastic pipes reduce the capacity almost more than 2/3 of the capacity of the system. So we looked at a couple different options. One, could we replace this crossing with one pipe, which would be a 48-inch culvert, which would match the existing capacity, or we could do it with two pipes, going back to that original 42 and 24-inch. Both have the same baseline capacity. Depending on really high flows, the 48-inch might give you a little higher under higher events, and their costs are similar, with the 48-inch pipe being slightly less. So we have option 1 and option 2, with option 1 being the 48-inch. Working with MnDOT, they did agree that this could be open cut instead of bored. And part of the reason is that there will be a future project to Trunk Highway 30. You can even see on the photo that some of the gaps in the pavement. So they were willing to accept a temporary, it'd be a patch with bituminous, which is a lot less expensive. It's also their cost. But our opinion is, if we're gonna open up the road at this point, we have a 105-year-old tile underneath the highway very close to this. Could we replace that at the same time and save some significant cost to the landowners? So we met with landowners, went over that option, and nobody really disagreed with that. That is a good way to spend some drainage dollars on this system. So we're proposing to add in the 24-inch dual wall to replace the 30 and 24-inch dual wall to replace the existing tile that's there and fill that. So we have applied for a MnDOT utility permit. MnDOT has actually had 2 rounds of reviewing the plans. They have agreed to pay their portion of the costs, and we expect that permit to be received in a couple weeks. We've got good positive feedback that we're on the same page for the project. So when we look at option 1, the total cost for the project would be just under $180,000. The tile crossing cost would be $36,000. That would be the only landowner costs. And the reason we're proposing that again is if we were to bore that pipe, it'd be $91,000. So this is a $55,000 savings, kind of one-time shot to put a pipe across the road because it's open. So we think that's a good way to spend drainage system dollars and have a new crossing here. Option 2 with the two culverts is slightly higher at $182,000. It's our opinion that we recommend option 1. MnDOT is in support of that, but that these culverts are an obstruction. They are slowing down flow. There have been landowner complaints, so we do recommend moving forward with this repair. And our opinion is to move forward with option 1. Again, the cost for that for landowners would be $36,000, and MnDOT would pick up the difference. So, any questions?
Any questions from the board? Thank you. So at this time, we will open the public comment portion of the hearing. If you would like to make a comment, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Comments from the public are expected to be civil and respectful. Is there anyone wishing to make comments? Hello.
Hi. I'm Brian Reevy, Amboy, Minnesota. Did you check into all the cost of increasing that tile size as long as we're installing a new one?
We could put a larger pipe there. It technically would be an improvement. Now, we have put larger pipes under roads and matched tops. So we could do that if we went to the next largest size. We'd probably be in that, just quick off the cuff, probably about $42,000 for that crossing.
Well, I'm just wondering if there would be an improvement to the county ditch system in the future, if that would be something to do ahead of time instead of later.
We have done this in the past. When Trunk Highway 22 was redone, we did put in a larger pipe, but we made sure that the connection points matched the existing capacity. So what we did there is we we matched the top of both pipes, which gave an extra 6 inches. So we could do a 36-inch pipe there. So then just really quick, just thinking about cost per foot, you know, it might be an extra $4 to $6 grand. So.
Well, you already got the open ditch, it'd just be the increase in the pipe size. But
Again, it wouldn't be, it's something we have done in the past. So.
You have to go through the improvement process for that then, or not? I don't think we did on...
The road authority has some leeway to put in larger crossings to save money in the future. So we have gone through that process before. I just have to check if we would need another hearing for that or not. I mean, we could include that as a bid alternate and look at prices. If we could have maybe amend this to add that.
Kevin?
That maybe was my first question you asked, is do we need another hearing to do that? And two, do we have a feeling from MnDOT on being open to that in this particular case?
I did invite MnDOT folks here. They have been open to it in the past. We could ask them to amend the permit to include that. And if we get denied, maybe we'd have to come back to the board. You know, just maybe go through a little bit more formal process to do that, though. But in the past, they've been very open to that, especially since this would be a landowner cost to make it larger. So.
And to be clear, that's just, it's there in case there's an improvement petition sometime. It's not gonna, going with the larger culvert, it's not gonna increase or do anything different except we're building a house with more bedrooms than we currently need based on what might happen in the future.
Yeah, and the tile outside of the right-of-way, I'd recommend that we run some of that at 24 still to make sure that we reduce that capacity.
well, that's fine. I'm just wondering in the future if it would be upgraded and save the cost of boring again.
It is a good point. The system does have pretty good capacity, but going to a 36-inch pipe here would probably meet requirements of an improvement in the future.
Well,
that was my next question.
I thank the county ditch system for working on this. It's been a thorn in my side for several years after they reduced that culvert size. 2 years ago, there during the summer, the water was up to the edge of Highway 30 because it was backed up so far. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else wishing to make comment on Judicial Ditch 32 repair report? And for the last time, is there anyone wishing to make comments for Judicial Ditch 32 repair report? Thank you. Hearing no other comments, I'll close the public comment portion of the hearing. Any more questions or comments from the board?
So do we need to look at that as an option 2 then?
Chuck, what's your
not?
recommendation?
Yeah, I would say let's develop right now option 3, which would be the 48-inch pipe with looking at a larger pipe through the road, and I can work with MnDOT staff on that, and we could maybe even bid it as an alternate and look at pricing. And but either way, I think that is, you know, I didn't look at it because the system is larger than a half-inch drainage coefficient, but with landowner input, we didn't get that necessarily before. I think it's a good idea to consider that. So I'd say recommend an option 3 that looks at a 36-inch tile underneath the road. And if we can get permitted for that, we'd move ahead. If not, we'd go back to the original. Does that make sense?
The original automatically, we won't have to have another hearing? Or
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I would move that.
I have a motion
I'll second that.
and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. If there are no other comments from the board, this will conclude Ditch 32.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now we are headed into County Ditch 78. Go ahead. This is a hearing also? No.
No,
All right.
just setting a hearing date.
We're just setting a date. Go ahead, Jordan.
Thank you. Blue Earth County Ditch 78 is in Vernon Center and Garden City Townships. The Blue Earth County Drainage Authority established the improvement on December 17, 2024. The project was awarded to Stevens Bobcat and Backhoe LLC. The Property Environmental Resources Department staff received the engineer's acceptance report for this petitioned improvement. All contractual work has been completed by the contractor. Today we are requesting the Drainage Authority to set the contract acceptance hearing date for March 17th, 2026 at 9 a.m. in the Blue Earth County Board of Commissioners room located on the second floor of the historic courthouse building. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Kevin?
Chair, and I haven't checked with the county attorney on this, but I'm not sure. I could get in a lot of trouble, but I'm a landowner on CD 78, so I will abstain from setting an acceptance hearing.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
And a second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you, ISG staff. Appreciate it.
Thanks, you guys.
Thanks, Ryan.
See you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. So next on the agenda is the planning and zoning hearings. Thank you, Stephanie.
Good morning.
Good morning. So the next item is planning and zoning. The planning and zoning staff are here to present their action items. This is a public hearing, and public comments will be allowed in just a moment. As previously stated, comments should be civil and respectful. I'd ask the planning and zoning staff to please introduce themselves for the record and introduce the first item before the board.
Thank you, Madam Chair. John Considine, County Land Use Administrator. Our first item this morning is PC 04-26. It's a request for review and approval from Stormy Motorsports for an after-the-fact interim use permit to operate a Level 2 home occupation outdoor storage business. The property is located in the southeast of the northwest quarter of Section 36 in Jamestown Township. The property address is 62750 State Highway 60, Madison Lake, Minnesota 56063. At the Planning Commission meeting, staff presented the staff report. The applicant was present and spoke about wanting to run a compliant business and operation. There was no public input provided during the public hearing. The Planning Commission had no objections and had commented on being familiar with the business and this being a good use of a recent ordinance amendment. Following the discussion, the Planning Commission voted unanimously to forward a recommendation of approval to the County Board based on the findings and conditions prepared by staff. So the board action for this item this morning would be passage of a resolution based on the recommendation of the Planning Commission. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. At this time, we'll open the public comment portion of the hearing. If you'd like to make a comment regarding PC 04-26, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Is there anyone wishing to speak to PC 04-26? Anyone wishing to make a comment? All right, last time. We will close the public comment portion of the hearing. Any comments from the board?
I'll move approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I just want to make a comment that went very well at the county planning and zoning meeting. This is an ordinance that we worked on several months ago to bring a non-conforming business into conform with the county ordinances, and Stormy and Doris do a great job out there, and they have a nice business, and it's something that we certainly need in this area. So appreciate them doing it, and now we are all set and ready to go.
So I had a motion and a second, right?
Yep.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. The next item is PC 0626. Well, I should say I'm Scott Salisbury, Senior Land Use Planner, Property and Environmental Resources. The request is from Blue Earth County, and the request is to amend the Blue Earth County Code of Ordinances, Section 24-334, the solar energy standards. The proposed amendment clarifies that rooftop solar energy systems do not require an interim use permit, and that the requirements for a decommissioning bond or letter of credit is not required for solar energy systems on properties owned by government entities with a taxing authority. At the Planning Commission meeting, staff presented the report. The Planning Commission had no objections and briefly discussed the requirements for bonding for roof-mounted systems, and staff clarified that no roof-mounted system would require an intermuse permit or a permit of any kind, so there wouldn't be bonding required for public or private projects on a roof-mounted systems. The change to not require the decommissioning bond or letter of credit would only be for ground-mounted systems that would be owned by a government entity. And following discussion, the Planning Commission voted unanimously to forward a recommendation for approval to the County Board based on the findings prepared by staff, and the board action is a passage of a resolution and ordinance amendment based on the recommendation by the Planning Commission.
Thank you. So at this time, we'll open the public comment portion of the hearing. If you'd like to make a comment regarding PC 06-26, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Is there anyone wishing to speak to PC 06-26? Anyone else? Anyone wishing to make comment? Last time. For anyone wishing to make comment to PC 06-26, if not, we'll close the public comment portion of the hearing. And what are the wishes of the board?
Move to approve.
I have a motion to approve.
Second.
And a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And being there is no other topics from planning and zoning staff, this will conclude the planning and zoning items. Oh, we have more? Wow, okay. That's what I get for reading a script, right? All right,
That's
two more.
for the planning and zoning
Now we go on to,
administrative stuff.
all right.
No more public hearings.
No more public hearings. Let's move on. Go ahead, John.
Okay, yeah, Scott Salisbury
Scott,
again.
go
Going
ahead.
to do the first item is the request for updating the financial assurance requirements for reclaiming mines as well as site restoration for hot mix asphalt plants, concrete plants, and crushing plants. And financial assurances are really an important tool in our ordinance to help ensure that mines are reclaimed properly. It's been in the county ordinance since 1977. And while the county, we haven't had to cash in a bond to perform the actual reclamation, it is an important tool to help ensure that the site is reclaimed before we return that bond back to the property proposer. The performance bond rate that we have used since 1980 has been $1,000 per acre. And last month, when we updated the county code for the mining standards, they added a section in there that it be set by the County Board of Commissioners. And so while we're researching the mining standards, the bond amounts that other jurisdictions use really are between $5,000 and $10,000 an acre. And when we met with the various mining companies, we got a little bit of a range of costs per acre that they thought it would be, ranging really from about $2,000 per acre to about $7,500 per acre. And staff are recommending increasing that financial assurance rate for mining reclamation to be increased from $1,000 per acre to that $5,000 per acre. And then also setting a rate for the site restoration for sites that are used for hot mix asphalt plants, concrete plants, or crushing operations for aggregate to $2,500 per acre. And it's staff's intention to review that rate annually when we look at our department fee schedule. And the board action today is we're requesting to adopt a resolution for the financial assurance amounts for the mining reclamation as well as site restoration for hot mix asphalt plants, concrete plants, and crushing operations.
Move to approve.
Second. Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Groundwater.
Our last miscellaneous item here this morning to cover with the county board is again a follow-up on previous work staff has done with the board's attention to the groundwater and surface water protection loan program and establishing an interest rate. The board may remember back in November of 2025, there was a resolution passed establishing this new loan program for the residents of Blue Earth County. The program has the focus of protection of water resources and provides an additional option to finance the replacement of non-compliant septic systems. In preparation for the upcoming construction season, Property and Environmental Resources has worked to establish an administrative process for the loan program, and the final step is to establish an interest rate for that financing. Through feedback provided by the Board of Commissioners at the work session last fall, staff recommended an interest rate being calculated using the bank prime loan rate set by the Federal Reserve System. The interest rate shall be administratively set by per each January using the following formula: 3% below the bank prime loan rate as specified in the most recent announcement by the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System in the year prior to the County Board Commissioners' first meeting of the year, and it is not to go below 4%. This formula allows for annual adjustments of the rate, and the rate established at the time of a loan will be applied throughout the duration of the loan. The action requested would be a board passage of a resolution establishing the interest rate for the groundwater surface water protection loan program. Thank you.
Thank you.
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion.
Second.
And a second. Any discussion? Yes.
I would just say appreciate looking at this. This is a process that's worked well for the Rural Minnesota Energy Board and things like that. So appreciate the looking into it, coming up with this formula.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Good to see you guys.
Thanks, guys.
See you too. Take care.
Now we get Mr. Mark.
Good morning.
Good
Morning, Mark.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mark Manderfeld, Property and Environmental Resources. I have two items today. The first one is an abatement request through our County Assessor's Office. A little bit of background. As part of a parcel split in Eagle Lake, property records on parcel R12-10-18-40401, which included a fourplex townhouse units, were inadvertently duplicated to create a new child parcel as part of a property split. This clerical error resulted in an incorrect overall assessed value of $3.5,400,000, and that was for the 2025 assessment for taxes payable in 2026. The newly created parcel contained a partially constructed fourplex. And an abatement is necessary to correct the value of that parcel to accurately reflect the property valuation of $468,100 as of assessment date January 2nd, 2025, again for taxes payable in 26. The county's abatement policy defines a clerical error in part as an error made in the performance of clerical duties such as data entry, transcription, computer system errors by the county or by county business partners, coding, transposition, or mathematics, which causes erroneous classification, erroneous valuation, or late payment of tax. It does not involve judgment, but it may involve the failure of a government entity to perform a ministerial act related to the assessment of property. The inadvertent duplication of property details meets the definition of clerical error under this policy. Blue Earth County Board has delegated authority to grant abatements under this policy for the correction or changes that result in refunds or credits to the applicant of no more than $10,000. The abatement requested for this parcel exceeds the delegated amount and requires review and approval by the board. Action recommended. Property and Environmental Resources Department staff recommends that the board approve the requested abatement for parcel 12-10-18-404-002, and a copy of the abatement is attached. One note of clarification, no property taxes have been extended as a result of this because it was a 2025 assessment. If we make action now, we're able to correct that for taxes payable in 2026 when the tax statements go out.
I'll move approval.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
And a second. Any more discussion? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item.
Thank you. The second item I have is from our Waste and Recycling Division. As you guys are familiar, the board took action in January to appoint 5 members to our new Recycling and Waste Advisory Committee. We do have 4 new appointments for the board's consideration here. These terms would be from January 1st, 2026 through the end of December 2027. The 4 recommendations for board's consideration are Miss Diane Weingart. She has worked with various local institutes, including MAPS, and to encourage sustainable practices for better management of solid waste. She would be a resident of District 3. Miss Stephanie Putzer has worked with local organizations like the Greater Mankato Rotary Club to establish best environmental practices and regularly educates and advocates for better management of waste at other institutes she attends. She is a resident of District 1. Ms. Tricia Bauerfeind has worked with local organizations to educate and inform residents and children about a range of topics, including public health and environmental issues. She is a resident of District 5. And Mr. Grant Diedrich has worked as a volunteer with various community organizations to divert waste, improve food access, and improve recycling systems with those institutions. And he would be a resident of District 5.
Nice.
So a recommendation from Property and Environmental Resources is to appoint these 4 individuals to bring our membership on the committee to a full membership, and the committee will have its first meeting later this week.
Congratulations.
Awesome. I'll move approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, Mark.
Hey,
Have a
you
good day.
too. Human Services.
Morning, Phil.
Good morning, Phil.
Madam Chair, I have, I think, 4 action items for the board today to consider, and then a couple of informational items as well.
Okay.
The first action item under the Mental Health Center is a detoxification transportation agreement for 2026 from the Mankato Department of Public Safety for transportation. Their rate is $113.63 per hour. It is a 9% increase based on their increases in wages since the last contract. There's also a piece in here about observation for safety if transportation on certain nights are full and they have to sit with somebody. That's what that's for, and it is something we've paid historically, so it's not new. But it is added into the contract, and I wanted to make sure the board was aware that they also provide that service. Term is January 1st of 26 through December 31st of 26. Next item also under mental health is the Nicollet County SMI, which stands for Serious Mental Illness. The board hears a lot about SPMI, which is persistent mental illness, and some of the chronic diagnoses that are more severe. This is that next level down, and counties are responsible to provide that to the community. So we obviously do that through our mental health center, and Nicollet County also adds on to that contract in this particular way each year for the local mental health provider responsibility. This has been in place for several years, same as last year, equates to $25,000 annual cost paid quarterly. Term January 1st of 26 through December 31st of 26. Next section is public health, and here we have Minnesota Healthy Kids Project, and this is a grant that is through MDH. I see there's a typo. I don't know if that got taken out in your version, but it's MDH, not DHS. It is about exposure to all kinds of chemicals, metals, other things in the environment, and we screen for that at the preschool age time. So during the preschool screening time is when we offer this. It's voluntary. The hope is to, per the grant, get 150 students assessed. I believe it's through urine sample to see if there's harmful chemicals in their environment, and so parents have the ability to volunteer to have that be better known. It is District 77, so it includes both ourselves and Nicollet County. It starts on March 15th of this year and runs through March 15th of 27. The one-time grant amount is $22,582. And then Disability Services, Presbyterian Family Foundation. We have several, as the board's aware, guardianship service providers in our county. We're very grateful for them. It is a hard responsibility, and we are always looking for more providers in this area. Statutory responsibility for the county to provide these services to vulnerable adults. This is a new contract adding to our options, and the rate is for 2 years, and the term is $56 per hour. The date term is February 1st, 26 through December 31st, 27. And finally, an appointment, Christine Wooler, District 1, Madam Chair, Human Service Advisory Committee, and we would move these items today.
All right.
I would move to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
And a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioners. A couple of snapshots here for you in some of our program areas. I continue to struggle at times to make sure we give you enough information of what's going on. There's so many programs that we have, and so we try our best to take a picture and give you some data. It's not the full picture, but to give you a sense of all that's going on, because there is a lot happening. The two today are supportive housing, and then we're also going to talk about the SCCBI, the Adult Mental Health Initiative. The supportive housing slides, you'll see really to the right under enrollment and served numbers, kind of a breakdown of how we're doing in this area based on 2025 outcomes. You'll see the split between multi-person homes 30% and single-person homes 70%, so most usually are individuals. Total household serves 81, and total participants altogether is 119. I always kind of highlight this, the numbers aren't real high, and we were regional in our scope, and now we're serving just our own county here in this area. But the exit strategies, even though the numbers are low, I think do tell a story, especially with regard to rental by client without housing subsidy, which was 2 in the sample set, and then rental by client with housing subsidy, which is 4. So, that's the biggest chunk of where people exit, and that is really the goal, is for stable housing for these folks. And so we're very pleased to see it go that way, as opposed to incarceration, hospitalization, other things that are kind of the opposite of what we're trying to accomplish. Then breaking down into some more specific information for the board, there's these 5 sections about our response and outcomes. The first section talks about collaboration, especially with the city, the EDA, creating the Housing Trust Fund and Advisory Committee, working with the shelters, and obviously the large supportive housing project that's been underway for quite some time using ARP funding. The second section talks about education, preventing rental eviction. I think that second bullet, landlord listening sessions, has helped a lot. People that are willing to work with us and really try to come alongside a need that might not be usual and customary. And then I also appreciated staff going out and talking to other human service staff. We're big enough that sometimes one hand doesn't know what the other hand is doing unless we make a concerted effort. So they make the rounds and talk about what we do. Yeah, it's really good cross information. The Housing Resource Guide was updated, procedures, and the website as well. The triage calls, 228 triage calls, the term from that was January through June of 25. We did have a grant for this, and Partners for Housing were good enough to take on this position, which really helped our budget situation. As we all know, we've been working very hard on that. And so that was a good move. A little more disconnected for us, so we still get some calls and try to do our best to triage, but really appreciate the partnership with Partners. And then final section there, we participated in the annual homeless point in time contact count, and that's a really important one that does get looked at the legislature about just where are we at and what the trend lines are. So that's a very important effort, as well as Project Community Connect, which I know some of you are very involved with supporting our community in that way as well. So appreciate that. The last informational item is on the initiative, and I know we throw out our acronyms, but so AMHI, Adult Mental Health Initiative, CCBI, the South Central Community Based, SCCBI, I'm sorry, the South Central Community Based Initiative are really one and the same. The Adult Mental Health Initiative is throughout the state, and our version of that is the SCCBI. Just to walk through this quickly, the organizational operational issues, I just highlighted that we did look at the job description of Ricky Pribble, who currently is our regional manager, and we're working on just how our governance goes and how our fiscal host role and also our employer of record role are delineated. We reformatted the operational budget for improved accuracy as well as a region, the 10 counties working well together. And the RMT stands for Regional Management Team, and this is both staff from each of the 10 counties as well as consumer representation, so people with lived experience. And it's really the kind of heart and soul of what drives this mission. We did look at the policies and forms again through that body, and did some budget training so people understand, because it does get complex at times, there's no doubt about that, and trying to make sure people are all on the same page. Psychiatric, you'll see the 84% of our budget was spent, 95% in urgent care, and 80% of our regular psych target. And I think we can get all those up towards 100%. We have made some moves just with staffing, and obviously with the budget concerns that weren't all simple or easy, but I think we're through that, and so we hope this year sets itself up to really be efficient as far as our resources goes. The ERTS is our housing option that is sponsored by vendors in the community. We collaborate with DHS. They talk a lot about uncompensated care and how do we try to work through some of those issues. The second bullet, that our uncompensated care in 25 was 0, which is really impressive. That's kind of unheard of, actually. And so holding a bed open, those types of things, we were able to coordinate through that with high efficiency. And then obviously we are on some pins and needles with the Medicaid updates and things that are going from the feds all the way through, and this will hit really everything I come and bring to you. MA is part of all of it, and so that too, we're just wondering what's going to happen with some of these folks that are trying to knit together a plan that works for them, and it's vulnerable at times. The clubhouse, which the board's aware of, obviously promoting that community engagement, social skills, and symptom management. Really, when we're active and we feel like we have purpose and something to do in a given day, it helps us all with our functioning. So that's the goal, one of the major goals of the clubhouse. And the clubhouse is run by our consumers again, so that's really an important feature in all of this. Children's Cabinet, so even though we're Adult Mental Health Initiative, there are some kids pieces that we have in here. Years ago, we did bring forward a children's version of the Adult Mental Health Initiative, and that's back up on the screen again. Ours was, I thought, successful. We got funded, and then we went through a budget cut, and it went away. And so I think it was a good learning experience, but now years later we're trying again because we do need it, and the kids need it. So we have a children's cabinet set up to kind of deal with all things on that side of the equation. This CTSS stands for Children's Therapeutic Supports, so it really is those services in the community given by certified providers, not the county staff, which is really about that rehab intervention and actually maintenance of family systems for kids and their households. There is this big project, the final bullet under Children's Cabinet, launched our Children's Crisis Residential Project with HMA, which is a vendor for project management. It's funded through some opioid response money from all the partner counties. And we're working on that, and it will continue, it says, through Q3 of 2026, because we're not sitting on a ton of money. So we're planning, that's what we're using the money for, and maybe hoping for some avenue or way that we can try to find some resources for sustainability, because you don't want to build something and not be able to afford to run it. So we're kind of working with people that are already in this business and seeing what's out there, because I think we can practice smarter, and this is the whole out-of-home placement cost issue, trying to build something in our region that serves us better than sending kids out of state especially. So. Stakeholders, we had 2 events this last year, 150 attendees, and really the recovery stories are always the best part of that effort. And the housing with special supports, you'll see that we supported Horizon Homes in doing that work for independent housing. This is again an example of housing being at the front burner with, in this case, somebody that has independent housing but does need wraparound customized supports, and so Horizon's been part of that. Crisis services under mobile, information referral, we had 5,300 calls, adult assessments over 1,000, stabilizations, which have actually been very successful, and you'll see that increase in 2024. We had 156. Short-term interventions is really what we're talking about to stabilize functioning, and this past year was 486, so more than a double. Child assessments, child stabilizations as well at a lower number, and then you'll see the admits in the crisis center itself, 746 folks, fairly stable with the prior year. Bed days also very similar, and occupancy rate about 68%, which is actually the goal, just because of the churn of intakes and out. That 70% is actually a pretty good number. If you get way high, it means chaos for a facility. So you don't want to be in the 90s, that's for sure. But we're hitting that pretty well. And then acuity has increased. I will say, you guys are always so respectful to the staff that are in this trench, but if you talk to them, they talk about caseloads and they talk about acuity. That's what they care about. And it's just that folks have multiple needs. It's not just chemical health. It's chemical health with mental health, with poverty, with just things that are just layered up. And so it's really difficult to have a magic wand, but I think we can come alongside and help. And so we're all about that. I think that second bullet under other also is important, in that we have been willing to go in using our mental health staff, both prescribers and therapists, to make ourselves available to folks that need an urgent care slot, and that can happen at the crisis center or wherever. And so we have a clinician that will show up and try to, put out a fire, for lack of a better description, before it gets full blown. And so that's been very successful, to the tune of 46 interventions. So, and I'll probably leave it at that, Madam Chair. Thank you for hearing me out.
Thank you. Looks like we have lots of materials for some workshops.
Yes, for sure, anytime. And we love to tell our story. And yeah, going a little deeper into that, I always feel like some of those stories, like we said, at stakeholders, where people tell their story, or just me coming up in chemical health and hearing people in recovery tell their testimonies, it's so powerful. So I hope if we do sit down too, that staff can tell some of those stories as well, because it's pretty moving stuff. It's really important.
It is. I agree. Anybody else?
Nope.
All right. Thanks,
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Phil.
Take care.
On to administration.
Well, Madam Chair and Commissioners, the first item is the county board minutes for February 3rd.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Next are the bills for the 2 weeks indicated.
So moved.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Tab 13 in your packet is the Human Resources Department agenda. We have 3 action items for the board's consideration today. The first 2 really are tied to one of the informational items. Letter F, we had a resignation of a library technician in our Mapleton Library. And so rather than bringing back that position at a .7 level, we are proposing to add or replace that position with 2 positions adding up to the .7. So no additional FTE, but splitting it up into 2 part-time positions. And so I'd maybe ask for approval of those 2 items.
So moved. Second.
Well, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Next is authorization for the county board chair and county administrator to sign an agreement with the Minnesota Public Employees Association, MINP. This is the sheriff's non-licensed essential unit, or our correctional officers. This is a 2-year agreement for calendar years 26 and 27. It has the same general wage adjustment in this contract as other bargaining groups at 3.5% each year. Other changes to the agreement really bring in language related to the earned sick and safe time, as well as Minnesota paid leave. And then there were a few other miscellaneous language cleanup items just to kind of modernize the contract, if you will. And so recommending approval of this agreement with this group.
Do I have a motion to accept?
So moved. Second.
And a second?
Mark beat me.
Mark, okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Under informational items, then, we do have a promotion of a financial assistance coordinator to a supervisor in our financial assistance unit in human services. We also had a lateral transfer of a social worker within our child protection area. We had a resignation of a public health specialist. And so next then is a resignation of a social worker within our child protection area as well. We have initiated recruitment to fill 2 of those social workers in our child protection area. Then we did have a change in the resignation date of that library technician that I spoke about earlier. We have filled a correctional officer, a part-time position within the jail. Then we had a resignation of a transport officer in the jail, and so we've initiated recruitment to refill that position. And lastly, we filled a land use planner in our Property and Environmental Resources Department. So be happy to answer any questions the board might have on any of those human resource items.
Any questions?
I don't.
All right.
Right then, tab 14 in your packet is again the Commissioners Committee assignment list. We have 1 change here. Let's see if it's kind of the middle of the first page, the Library Board, TDS, and Law Library Board, adding an additional alternate of Kelly McBride, the Library Director.
Do we need to move that, or?
Yeah, so we need a motion to approve
So
that
moved.
change.
Have a motion?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Tab 15 is the financial status report for January 31st. This is the first year of our fiscal year, so some of the numbers are a little distorted because of that. You'll see total revenues sit at $4.3 million compared to expenses of just over $12 million. Not a lot to say here at this point in the year. We're still getting started in terms of the flow of revenue. A lot of our state and federal revenue comes in on a quarterly basis, and obviously property tax comes in a couple of times a year. So not a lot to speak to at this point in time. The enterprise fund is the Ponderosa landfill, kind of a similar story there, where our total revenues are at $268,000 against expenses of just about $911,000. We did have one large piece of machinery that was purchased in January, and so that does distort the expenditure side of things a little bit. The second page then shows our cash and investment balances. At kind of the top of the page, our total available funds sit at just under 80 million. I go down against a target of 67.2 million. A little lower down on the page, the total county funds sit at 137.7 million. So again, early in the year, but I'd be happy to answer any questions that the board might have on any of those pages.
I don't have any questions.
Okay.
That's
Sounds
all I
good.
have, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Bob. I think because we are a little crunched on time here, we can dispense with the commissioner reports. Is that okay?
Got lots to do.
Yeah.
All right.
Golly.
I know. I attended like 5, but, all right. So we're going to go on to our work session. Do we close this meeting?
Yeah, she will adjourn this meeting, Madam Chair.
So I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Adjourn.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Do we move into the other room?
Yeah.
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Oh, 10 minutes.